Love After Lockup, all new tonight at 9, 8 Central on WeTV. Love After Lockup, all new tonight at 9, 8 Central on WeTV.
Hello, Mary. Mary, try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. I think that one will do.
Hey, Ro.
I'll play it back.
Fish.
I think it's probably.
How are you this morning?
And
How are you?
that'll be the one.
I'm tired, but I'm here.
Yeah, good to see you.
You too.
Thank you. Blake is here. Hi, Blake.
Good morning.
Lee is here. Gary Allen. Manish. Good morning, Manish.
Turn up this light.
Who else? That's it.
Yeah. That's better.
I was looking at things like green screens this morning. Actually, StreamYard has a green stream function. I think I ordered one a while ago. I need to look in my pile of stuff and see if I can find it.
I ordered more stickers from Sticker Mule. They should be here on the 31st. They were 50 of them for $9, so I thought that was pretty good as a deal. They're usually like 60, so I ordered them while they had their deal going.
That's pretty good. I ordered cups yesterday from Vistaprint. Got 10 cups coming.
10 of them?
10 of them. Yeah, with a picture of the opening. This essentially the picture that I'm on right now. Will be on the cup. No text. I decided not to put text on. So we'll see. They're going to be horribly expensive, but a few people will want it.
Yeah.
Only got 10. Lee is off. He's having lunch, eating baked potatoes, and then he's going to take a nap, and then he's going to go pick up Sue. So, bye, Lee.
Love you, Lee.
Have a good potato and a good nap.
Yeah, I look forward to your new song. Let me get some lotion for my hands. I'll be right back. I can't touch the mouse, won't work, and my fingers are dry. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Gary Allen, good morning, Gary. Tim Massey is the Massey rat. I read. Minaj. Hello, Minaj. Lee did not understand. What didn't he understand? Manish said Lee didn't understand.
Had to clarify that.
Oh, Lee understands everything. He understands perfectly well. What else is going on? We had a wonderful time with Blake yesterday. Blake's here this morning. Let me make sure I post the StreamYard. Anybody else who wants to come up is more than welcome to do so.
I'm sure everyone's getting tired of seeing me on here with you every day.
Yeah. I guess Kenny and James and who's coming with them? It's not Cat.
Ed. I think it's Ed, James, and Kenny, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. It's Ed. Yeah, Ed and James and good morning, Betsy. And Kenny will be in, I think, tomorrow.
Awesome.
Don't know when, and we have planned a collecting trip for them. I don't know if they're going to have the time or the inclination. It's a bit of a long trip. It'll be a half a day ordeal, but it will be a chance for them to collect Everglade. We found a site that has substantial quantities of Everglade. So we've been looking forward to going back there, as have Frank and I. So maybe we'll have a chance to do that either tomorrow or Thursday. Meanwhile, I've ordered a lot of plants and fish in this week, so the place would look decent. Unfortunately, they're not going to be in until tomorrow, so we're going to be rushing around trying to get everything in the tanks. I'll try to do unboxings as I can, or at least do a video of planting the tanks. That would actually be a bit more interesting, I think. And once I do that, all of the tanks that we've set up need some more plants in them. So I'm waiting to do that. And then we can do it as we're showing them. We'll be able to see all of the tanks. Who was it? Nice. Somebody yesterday was talking about the little tank we set up for the nursing home lady. I can't remember who was talking with about it. Might have been Blake. I don't remember.
I think it was.
I think it was too. Anyway, that tank is still sitting here. We have not been able to deliver it. And I don't want to give it to anybody else or sell it. So it's sitting here until we can get it to her. So one of these days, when the world goes back to normal, we'll be able to get the little old lady her fish tank. Either that or she'll leave the place she's in. It's a really interesting woman. She developed a serious hip injury problem a couple of years ago to the point where she was not able to walk. She is getting around some better now, but she spent her entire life doing very high level leather work for major leather companies, and she's quite an artisan in working with leather. So I've been encouraging her to find a way to get back into that so that she can support herself and get back into the community. So I'm hopeful when we can reach a point where it's possible, Kim is her name, where it's possible to have some sit down time with Kim, that we'll be able to support her in getting her leather work going. I do have a big box of leather I've been saving. It's probably of no value to her at all, but we'll see. Anyway, how are you doing, Ro?
I'm doing good. Yesterday after the live stream, I told everyone I was going to take a nap, and I lied. I didn't. My little fish pond area outside was overgrown with weeds, and I couldn't take it no more. And I went out there and spent about 4 hours ripping up all the weeds and just pulling them up. So it's all mud and dirt back there now because I got rid of the weeds. So I spent my time yesterday doing that, and I've got to drain a pond today, and because it's got a leak, and I got to try to find the leak. If I can save it, I'll fill it back up. But if I can't, then it's closed down until next year. That one will be. So I'm finally getting to where I can shoot 2 or 3 minute videos on my phone. I don't know. I guess it's decided to be nice to me now. But I shot some videos of my mystery snails and the snake we got. And you said you were needing plants. I got a few Reuben swords if you want some, if you need them.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'll send them because I'm wanting to send you some sculpins Monday. So
Yes.
they're going to be probably about 1.5 inches because the smaller ones are easier to ship. But these sculpins actually change color. They'll be like next to if they're next to a striped background, they'll kind of develop stripes, or if they're next to like a sand bottom, they'll get kind of the color of the sand. It's really cool. And their eyes move like a chameleon too. They're really cool fish. But I was planning on sending you some of those, and I caught them locally, and I'll send you some of those plants too, and I'll do videos today of the pond. But other than that, I finally got 6 hours of sleep last night. I'm so excited because I haven't had sleep in like 4 days, and I finally got some sleep. So hopefully I won't be like in a autopilot in the days today. So I'm looking forward to that. And looking forward to coming down there too. I wish I could
Yeah,
be there
that'll be fun.
when everybody is, but I can't.
Lee is admonishing me to get some codes out here. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Is Dirty Platy here? There, Dirty Platy is.
Hey, Dirty Platty.
And Manish, you are now a moderator.
There you go.
Dirty Platy. And Minaj. We got us a bunch of new moderators.
My grandson needs paper for his school. He's having to do online school, and he's here with us. So let me grab my grandson some paper real quick and hand it to him. He's at school going on right now, so I'll be right back.
Kind of. Who else? We did Manish. Lee, we appreciated your frog video. That was great fun, and it did work out, and was just real interesting. That was pretty cool. You Rachy Rach. We're gonna get us a bunch of new moderators here today because we can't have enough. Fish Pappy, good morning, Fish Pappy. Good to see you back with us. Been missing you a bit. Here, we'll reward you too. So, High Rise. Goodness sakes. High Rise is not a moderator. Here we go. All right. Who else we got on here? Paul C. We're just going to load them up. Everybody gets to be a moderator. And of course, the reason we're doing this, there's Roger S. Hey, Roger. Good morning. Roger is certainly a prime candidate for moderator. Oh, he was one. Now he's not. What is this? It's not showing it. And okay. All right. And Rachy Rach's. We did that. All right. That kind of covers the waterfront from now. Let me explain. Did Gary Ellen? Gary Ellen. All right. Here's Gary. The philosophy of moderators. I'm going to bring Ro back up in a minute. I want to talk about this first. The philosophy of moderators on the father fish, the father fish stream is really quite simple. To date, we have not had anyone come in here other than Lee, who has tried to sabotage the stream. And that's not to say Lee has tried to sabotage the stream, because he has not. And I would not ever level that charge at him. He does, however, bring us to the edge of chaos, which in and of itself is not chaotic, except by definition. It is more joyous. So he brings us great joy. That being the case, that none of the shoal, the members of the shoal who are here on this stream, are saboteurs, that makes all of us allies of each other and supporters of the shoal. So I am preparing the ground. We will have 100 moderators when we're through and ready, so that when the hordes begin pouring in, we will be more than ready for them. In the meantime, we celebrate each and every one who comes back here on a regular basis. You don't earn a moderator wrench by coming here for the first time. You've got to come back. You have to enjoy it. You have to look forward to it, and you have to participate in some meaningful way. If only to lurk and occasionally comment. So there it is. That's kind of the motivation and my reasoning. I've decided not to do memberships on my channel. I'm doing wrenches instead. And there is another device. It's a hammer. And I think I know how to do hammers. I think a hammer is a person who is allowed access to the fundamentals of the channel, who's able to post and so forth. So we'll look into that a bit. But we may begin seeing a few hammers showing up as well. So let's bring Ro back and see what she's all about. There she is. Hi. We don't have your volume. Are you? Oh, that's me. That's not you. All right. What happened? I think you should be on now. Try it
I'm good.
again. Yeah, we're good. All right.
What do
I
you
had
got to do to get a hammer, Father Fish?
Well, I got to look into it. I know that it is possible to set up a person to be able to manage the channel, and my hunch is that that's where the hammer comes from. It is a
Gotcha.
co-manager on the channel. Don't know that for a fact. Um, Missed the two of them. So Blake and Lee are speaking in code this morning.
Uh-oh.
Oh, by the way, the hurricane that's coming up to Louisiana, Texas. I was talking with Precious Tranquility yesterday, and she's not sure about the course, but I'm just really worried that it's going to get close to her. It's up to a category 4. It
Ooh.
has become, it's up over 115 mile an hour winds, much more powerful than they had anticipated.
Is New
So,
Orleans in the way of it again, just like Katrina?
yeah, don't know, but it looks bad.
Ah,
They're contemplating serious problems in Louisiana and in West Texas. She's more like in the center, the south center of the state, kind of in the middle of the triangle of the
well,
three cities.
aren't they not even finished fixing the problems that Katrina left behind? Ain't they still working on that right now?
Well, the dikes, they have done a lot of work on them. They should hold. We'll see. That'll be the big test, won't it?
Yeah.
Uh, Lee, when I talk to you, mistranslate me. Oh, you mistranslate me because you are an American. I say fag, you are rude. When I say fanny, you are rude. Not my fault. Oh well. I don't want to get into this. These we're now having squabbles between Brits and Aussies, and that's a pair if there ever were.
Hey, I got a question for you, Father Fish.
Sure.
I was talking. Well, I posted that video about my snake, and Bob Kaler said that they'll be going into hibernation soon. My frog and my snake, and I asked him what I need to do to prepare them for that. And since I've got that water snake, what do I need to do to prepare them for hibernation if they're going to be in a tank in the house?
If they're going to be in the house, they will not hibernate. What
Is
they
that
will do is stop eating. They their hibernation is really nothing more than going down into the dirt when it gets cold and just kind of staying there. I lost your. Oh, that's odd. When huh? I lost you. I lost your volume.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. I went over to YouTube to look at the text. Blake is saying if I ever get a hammer, my first comment would absolutely be, all right, stop. Hammer time. Really? What else here? Bud's coin. A hammer that's for fixing electronics that make you angry. We got Bud's coin. Bud's coin is now a moderator. Is there anybody? Here we go. Do not me, not me. Okay, what is this? We were showing Sue yesterday. A mod can whittle out trolls, and we do. That's right. Now here's the other secret. Marky is here. Marky 0306. We got to get Marky. Today's moderator day. Floods coins, we already did that. Who else? I rise, Paul C. We're good. We're good. All right. Rachy Rach. I Rachy Rach. Okay, the other issue with the other issue with mods is that a mod cannot put another mod in timeout. Only I can put someone in timeout. That opens the door for a bit of risk, but we are here in trust to, for, and with each other. So, as a mutual support society, the shoal protects its own and does not reject any of its own. A shoal never forces anyone out of the shoal.
That's good.
It simply surrounds them. Oh, well.
But we need to all be connected and not be rude to each other.
One dirty platy, there we go, is full of fruit. What is all this? I don't understand how to read. Read these things.
It's
One
like
dirty.
a celebration. Moderator Day. He's throwing out balloons and stuff. So
Oh, all right. So it's pieces of pie. Is that? Oh, they're hats, or maybe they're okay. Yeah, it's party stuff. I guess. Yeah. Pardon me. I went on talking about icons. Are they called icons? No. What are they called?
Emojis.
Emojis, right? I went on online and looked up fish emojis the other day, and there are a lot of pretty cool ones. So I've got them, but they're on my other computer. I've got to get them over onto this one so I can figure out how to use them. I'm like 20 steps behind on really being able to do much of anything.
Hey, Anton. He said hi to us.
Hi, Anton. Good to see you. High-rise window. Went to a mom and pop fish store yesterday. They encouraged me to have plants and deep sand bed with sponge filter. I was very impressed. Huzzah! Huzzah! We have a father fish shop out there. Good job, guys.
Yes.
What's the name? What's the name of the shop? We want to send them all a kudo.
Yes. I
Post
really do
the name
want
of
to
the
write the name down.
shop. High rise.
I was supposed to tell you, Rhett had court Tuesday, and I think it was Tuesday, might be Monday, but he was stressed out the night before, and we had that long stream, and he wanted me to tell everybody because people had been asking. Everything went good in court. They only charged him with the first offense DUI, not the second, so he only got 48 hours and a year probation. So that's good news for us, not bad. So
Amen.
let
Amen.
me just share that with you guys.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great. Yeah, I congratulate him on being able to remain with us. Frank is going into court on my birthday on September 15th. They've apparently got a parole violation against him. He got, with all this COVID stuff, things get lost and mixed up. And I know this is true because I've been with him through the whole process. He was apparently given a new PO and was not notified, and went to check in with the old one, who said, "No, we're not your new one." And then he couldn't find out who the new one was, and in the meantime got violated. So he's all panicked about that. So I may have to go up to Clearwater on my birthday to appear in court with Frank to try to get him clear of that. We'll see.
That's right, then.
Yeah, that'll be mid September. Lee's been put in timeout twice. Yes, he has. And he loved it both times. He took great joy and pleasure in it, considered it a badge of honor, he did. Considered he was due respect, as he expresses here in this little post. Beat that, he says. Oh dear. J Dog, anything I can put in my fish tank to promote healing and recoloring. I think the bacterial infection is dead, but there's still residual damage. It's just going to take a little time. Do water changes, Day Dog. You want to get the chemicals out of there. They're doing more than anything
Yeah.
to repress the biology of the tank. So just start doing 25% water changes, and you can do it every other day. You can do it every day. Every other day is a little safer. 25% is a lot, but you need to get the chemicals out. If you will do that for about 2 weeks, that'll reduce it pretty substantially, and in the process, the fish should be getting their color back and the tank regain its vigor.
Also,
Anthony is lurking. Yes, Red.
I'm sorry. And I also told him to feed him live foods because when my crown tail beta, he's got beat up twice now, and I would keep his water clean, change it, and I would also feed him live foods. And it seemed, I guess, the protein in the live foods help regenerate their fins quicker.
Absolutely. That's especially true with bettas. I don't like feeding bettas anything other than live food. Um, and it's amazing the effect that it has. You can take a betta that's all droopy and fin clamped and starving and faded out, start feeding it live food. Within days, it has its vigor back. It looks strong and healthy again. It's almost instantaneous.
It does happen fast.
And Anthony is lurking. Hello, Anthony. Good to see you.
Hey, Roxanne.
Anton Slabbert is here. Hi, Anton. I do take nominations, by the way. I am not all knowing, and I depend on my fellow shoalers to keep me pointed in the right direction as well. So if there's something I've missed or need to pay attention to, please feel comfortable about bringing it up. And I'll hopefully be paying attention to be able to notice.
Blake said API stress coat too for the repaired fins. That does help too. I've used it.
Yeah, stress coat could be a nice product. It's essentially aloe. I don't know what else they put in it. What else did they put in it, Blake?
I'm not sure.
One dirty platy, fresh duty. Roger S. The meat inside the thick leaves, the gel, is transparent. What are we talking about?
I'm not sure. I can't scroll back because my touch screen's messed up.
Oh, really? I don't know.
He must be talking about an aloe plant itself. That would work too.
Oh, maybe so, yeah. Hi, Roxanne. Good morning to you. J-Dog saying, what kind of aloe would be safe? Don't know, haven't used it.
I've used it. Mine was just a regular aloe plant I had bought at the store. No, I take that back. I got it at my local greenhouse when I worked there. I forgot the name of it, but it was just your standard aloe plants because they do cactus and everything there. So I would actually cut it. I would get one of the leaves and break it off and cut right down the center of the leaf and open it up and take a spoon and scrape the aloe gel out and put it in the tanks. That does help too. And that's basically, it's got a lot of aloe and stress coat too. But
I would imagine it would be slow to dissolve.
yeah, I put it on the HOB.
Kind of
In the,
sit there as a lump. Yeah. Let's see. Um, Blake said the name of the shop that High Rise went into is Father Fish Aquarium. Well, that explains that. Pet Paradise, here it is. Where is it located, High Rise? Pet Paradise.
maybe they got a website you can pull them up.
Cassie B is biking with her kids to school. Oh, that's pretty cool. Good job. Aquatic Conquest saying Blackbeard has to be introduced to the aquarium. Anything has to be introduced. Now, having said that, there's some things that get introduced through the air. I honestly believe the ick parasite is among them. I've seen it pop up where nothing changed in the tank except all of a sudden the temperature dropped and the fish got ick. But everything has to be introduced. Nothing occurs spontaneously. It may appear to be so, but there is always a causative action. That's in the nature of reality. Think about it for a minute. Can you think of one single thing in reality, in the universe, in the world that did not exist prior in your or anyone's experience prior to its current existence? I'm going to try to say that another way. Can you think of anything that exists now that at a given point in time did not exist in one form or another? That's not to say things don't change. Things do change, but that's just the point. They change. And I don't mean to get all philosophical and ontological and metaphysical about this, but the reality is if you get down to the level of the fish tank, nothing occurs without a cause. Everything that occurs because something made it happen. And maybe it made itself happen in some way, but it's always an interaction, an interplay between the elements going on, the life going on, everything else. It's all tied together. It's all linked together.
You got some answers to that question, Blake. It didn't exist before, and One Dirty Platty said dust, and Blake said the internet. But I know you're talking about natural things in nature, but he's right.
Internet. Well, there have been some discoveries of ancient tools that are referred to as computers. They go back thousands of years.
I meant to tell you when you were talking about ick, now kids get I know it's jumping from one thing to another, and I will tie them together, I promise. But, kids get the vaccine for chickenpox now. And used to, when I was growing up, you would just get chickenpox and you'd carry, that virus the rest of your life. And I think it is about the same way with fish. I think every fish can, carry that somewhere in their system. And I think when they get in certain conditions and they get weak, it comes out.
Not true about ick.
Is that not?
No, I don't think so. And the reason is ick is a parasite. It's actually a bug.
Okay, thank you for fixing my theory then, because I'm trying to figure out where it comes from.
Yeah, it's a living organism. It's not like a virus that can remain hidden. You're right about things like virus. A virus can remain hidden for an indefinite length of time. There's some thought that virus is not a living organism, um, for that very reason, that it can essentially um, morph into something and hibernate. Well, another animal that can do that, though, now that I think about it, is nematodes.
Yeah.
Nematode that goes through cycles. It'll go from a snail that'll be eaten by, let me back up now. Let me get it right. A snail will be eaten by a fish, and the nematode will go from the snail's gut to the fish's gut, living in the gut, from the fish to a bird where it lives in the gut, from a bird to the bird's poop, and back down in the water where it reinfects a snail or some other similar critter that a fish eats. So now, if it gets into wherever the fish is along here, if it gets into a fish and the fish here's the fish, and the fish gets too big to be eaten, the nematode goes into the body of the fish and forms a cyst, and it simply stays there until the fish dies and deteriorates. And I don't know what happens to the cyst then. If it deteriorates, probably not. It probably goes back into the bottom and then reinfects the snail or maybe another fish, I don't know. But in any case, the nematode, which is a bug, it's a worm. That's what you have in your yard row, is, I think, a type of nematode.
Yep.
They they go into a cyst and they can stay in that cyst for an indefinite length of time. That's not the same as a virus staying becoming inert, but it's certainly similar.
Don't it go into like a spore form too and can stay there if the conditions are right? Like
Well, theoretically, I there's something about it that I don't understand, and I brought it up a minute ago when I said I've had ick pop up in a tank where nothing new was introduced, and I made the comment. I honestly believe it comes in through the air. I doubt
Yeah.
that that's literally true. I think it's probably too large a bug to really be able to do that, but I don't know. Um, I know it can come in through an infected fish. That
Yeah.
certainly happens. We've all seen that. We know it occurs. We also know that when the temperature gets up to 86, because it's a cold water parasite, it dies. And if it dies, when it dies, all of its eggs and larvae also die. So it ceases to live in that system. Um, so no, I don't think it cysts. I don't think it goes inert. I think something else happens. Somehow it gets introduced. It certainly is a thoroughly invasive critter that seems to be able to 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 find itself in virtually every environment. It's just kind of a remarkable animal, like a bacteria almost. Ick, but easy to control if you get to it quickly enough. I mean, it's easy to control under any circumstances, but it can kill every fish in your tank in a week if you don't
Yeah.
catch it.
It's somehow I know that even if I know you can introduce it with a fish, but I've actually had tanks set up to where I haven't introduced anything and it'll just pop up out of nowhere. And I'm thinking,
I've had it happen too. Yep.
so it makes me think, there has to be some kind of egg or, something to do with it being, I don't know. I don't know how it gets in there. Or maybe it lays dormant for so long, or I don't know. It's a mystery. I'd
Really.
like to figure it out.
Rohan is saying father fish people did not exist before dinosaurs. Um, if you believe in evolution,
The
then they
shrew.
certainly did,
We were the
because they
shrew.
had ancestors. We had ancestors. If you're a creationist, then then that's another matter, because then in the creation story, God creates, and God is the ultimate creator, and that's kind of the point. There is no creation possible except by a creator, and the creator doesn't seem to be functioning in existence, in the timeline of existence. We can't see anything popping into existence and popping out again. Now, maybe some of the uh, microphysics guys are seeing things pop in from theoretically other universes. I
The
don't
dark
know,
matter and stuff. They got
but
dark matter and
it's
everything.
way beyond me. Okay, aquatic conquest. I've established that the BBA I myself have imported into my tank, so I don't dose or use chemicals. What is my option in
No
defeating
plastic.
this?
They
It's a
like
real easy, yeah, easily defeated. Do you have a thought about it, Ro?
I love blackbeard algae, and I had some, and I killed it because my potassium and phosphate levels aren't high enough in the tank to support it.
Exactly. Um, you can add a lot more plants. You can do water changes. You can do a deep sand bed and let it sit. I have not had blackbeard algae. I never get blackbeard algae in deep substrate tanks,
I
because
want it.
the nutrients the nutrients go down into the sand bed and come out of the water column. So it doesn't have, it's an algae. It requires nutrients in the water column.
And that's
Uh,
how you know if you got blackbeard algae that you
yeah,
got high
exactly.
phosphate.
Add fertilizer to the water, liquid fertilizer. That'll get it. And then find some and bring it in if you need to. Ro, I need to take a break. I'm
Okay,
having
baby.
a problem here. Be right back.
All right. Lee, I've got those flatworms. I've got the hammerhead flatworm. You know that though. But they do eat snails too, but their main food source is earthworms. I've seen your comment there in chat. Let's see here. Just make sure aquatic conquest that your phosphate levels are low if you're wanting to get rid of the blackbeard algae. Um, I love blackbeard algae and I can't keep it because my phosphate levels are non-existent. So um, just watch the phosphate levels in your aquarium because that stuff loves phosphate. Let's see here. And your tank is heavily planted. I've got a lot of frog bit where I have my blackbeard algae, and I think the frog bit is took up the phosphates. That I could be wrong. I don't know that much about plants. I know Bentley does, but I don't. But I do know they have growing form as moss and seriously eventually called. Well, if you do, please see. I love blackbeard algae, and it's in a form that is super cool. I've never seen that. So we could have black mothballs. That would be awesome. Oh no. Okay, so man, do you have any snails aquatic conquest? I don't even think my snails would be on blackbeard algae either if they left it alone and ate everything else. Snails may eat it. A mono shrimp may.
I have a long walk. I have to go from the front of the store to the back, which is about 100 feet. There and back again.
Is it
Let's
the?
see.
But you were talking about the ancient computer, the Antikythera mechanism or something.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was just
watching
reading
a
your note.
documentary on it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they finally have been able to recreate it and discover it's really quite an extraordinarily complex piece of equipment. They think was it Archimedes made it.
It's cool looking.
Amazing. I'm backing up a little. Pet Paradise London. Really? Well, let's look it up, guys. See if we can find a link for Pet Paradise London, and we will we'll bombard them with appreciation for their commitment to deep substrates. Continuously being eaten and pooped out, that's living. Amen, Blake. That's it. Absolutely.
Let's see here. Oh man, I don't know if I can do it on touchscreen. I've got the link right here, Pet Paradise, and let's see if I can. Okay, Control C. That didn't work. Let me try this again. I can't drop the link because my touchscreen won't work, but I've got it pulled up. Their website, Pet Paradise.
Lee
Looks
just
like-
turned himself a timeout.
Huh?
Lee just turned himself a timeout.
Oh, he earned himself one? I missed
He
it.
did. Yeah, just as well.
I'm sorry, Aquatic Conquest, or he's talking about his blackbeard algae and what he did. I know the phosphate levels, you can get them lower to get rid of it, but he's wanting to know because it's on his bow and his Amazon sewer plants, and he's wanting to know if there's anything out there that will eat it. He's got shrimp, but they're hiding from the cribs that's in the tank. So
typically it only grows on old leaves. So really the best way to get rid of it is to trim the leaves. You can trim it off the leaves, but trim the leaves off of the plant. They are older leaves that are beginning to deteriorate. So they're not new healthy leaves. If you've got new healthy leaves growing out on the plant, then and some of the old ones have blackbeard on them, just trim them off.
If the whole plant's covered in it, could he actually take and trim the whole plant down and it will grow back on it? If you cut everything down?
It may.
Being Pal and Amazon swords, I would think it would, wouldn't it? Because they're pretty good.
If you don't damage the crown, that's kind of the key. So long as it's producing new leaves, then it'll be okay. When a plant stops producing new leaves, that means that the root system is not supporting it. It may be dead. Root systems can die on a plant. They can actually rot out. If you have, that's one of the problems with a dirted tank that's too shallow. It will, it'll provide, it'll essentially over fertilize the plant and burn out the roots, which is why I always suggest when you're planting a plant, you plant it in the sand and not in the dirt. Just get it down 1 inch in the substrate, not all the way to the bottom, because the substrate, the dirt, could be too strong for the roots to be able to survive it. Aquatic Conquest. Yeah, he said he's been trimming. Um, Still in ya. Sand filters. Is it used in aquariums? I know they work great for pools. I'm talking about canister filters. Yeah, sand canister filters are wonderful. Um, the problem with them is when you go to clean them out, you're removing virtually 100% of the bacterial bed, the beneficial bacteria in the system. So you can crash the system very easily. If you're doing if you're doing a sand filter, a canister sand filter, make sure you've got a deep sand bed in the tank that's maintaining a biological culture in the tank. Otherwise, if that sand filter canister is the only source of biological activity and cut it offline, clean it out, you're essentially killing or endangering, I should say, the entire tank. Aquatic, his valves are popping up all over with runners. That's great. Sounds perfect.
Good. I think we helped Aquatic Conquest today.
Sounds like.
Theoretically, a plant could live forever as long as it's got the right nutrients for the roots, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll keep growing.
Does it ever
plants are like fish. Fish don't die from old age. They don't age the way mammals age. They just keep growing and growing and growing until something kills them. And the things that kill them can be predation, predators, uh, or environmental issues, lack of food, disease, injury. You know, a number of different things will kill a fish, but old age is not among them. Same with plants. Plants can like annuals actually don't naturally. You know, while we're saying this, I'm thinking about annual fish, but they die based on environment, based on water disappearing, not based on them actually aging. Um, there's some fish as they get older, get bigger, become kind of decrepit, I guess, which would be a sort of aging process.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. But they don't age in the same sense that they don't grow big, long white beards, unless they're plecostomus.
Well, now plants, they technically they don't die, do they? They don't just unless there's a change, like you said, in environment or something. As long as they're always getting what they need, will they theoretically live for?
Yeah, we're going into the deep water, the deep end of the pond here. But yeah, I think so. That's my position. I like it. One dirty platy. Honey Garami question. Just move them downstairs We did go on a few tanks to cycle. How safe will it be to add the fry to a newly cycled tank, and how soon? My question, one dirty platy, is what do you mean by a cycled tank? Are these gravel bed tanks? Are they bare bare bottom tanks? Are they deep substrate? What are they? What's the nature of your substrate in these tanks? One dirty platy. Smurf fish, J Dog says. Yeah, absolutely. Smurf fish grow big white beards. They do indeed.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I'm open to it. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is good. Aquatic Conquest. For the first time yesterday, I saw the skeleton remains of a shrimp. Freaked at first as I thought it was dead. Now, that is the first time I have ever heard the word skeleton
And shrimp.
applied to the shed of an insect. But technically, you're right.
Yeah.
It is a skeleton because these critters have an exoskeleton. And that's exactly why they have to shed, because it's the only way they can grow. They break out of their skeleton with a new soft skeleton that very quickly hardens. And then as they eat more, they get fatter and they push against the walls of their skeleton, burst it open, come out and do it again and again and again. But I never heard the word skeleton applied to a shed.
I
And
never have.
you're absolutely right. That's precisely what it is. Funny. Let's see if one dirty platy. At the moment, they're bare bottom. Just a few potted plants. Well, if you're putting fish in a bare bottom tank, do not put food in the tank except in extremely tiny portions. We're talking about a brand new tank here. New water, new tank, new system. So putting baby fish in a brand new tank, baby fish need to be fed substantially. They need to be fed typically more than once a day. That means you're going to be creating ammonia in that tank that the nitrates are not going to be built up enough to be able to overcome.
No.
That means you're going to have to do water changes. So, yeah, you can do this with baby fish if you're feeding them in a brand new tank, if you're doing substantial daily or every other day water changes.
And she can go ahead and put them in there right away too with that method, because like it won't have time to you won't have time for it to cycle to be able to handle the amount of food you're going to give them. So you can go ahead and put them in there and just do water changes.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually it will build up the nitrification cycle enough to be able to handle it. But you really need some kind of substrate in there. Now, having said that, I do. There are times when I do bare bottom for baby fish, simply because they're so tiny, and it's easier to see them and maintain control. But I always siphon out waste, and I always do water changes, and that's really critical. You can put a sponge filter in there. That will help a great deal because it will build up the nitrates in the sponge, and that water will be moving through it. So that'll go a long way toward controlling ammonia.
She could put a live plant in there in a pot too. That would help. Just put it in a little pot.
She did say she had some in there. So that's going to help. Yeah, there are things you can do to help. Plan on doing water changes. Um, if you can have your water prepared ahead of time and it's identical to the water that they're in, you can do 50, 70, 80, 90% water changes and get away with it. What you cannot do is put water in there in a major water change that is not prepared, that's not identical to the water they're already in. So if you have a way to keep water in a big vat and you're doing it out of that, that'll work just fine. Or even water from an aged tank, from a big tank, that works just fine as well. The oldest fish ever, Rohan wants to know. Well, that's a good question, isn't it? The
Somebody
oldest
answered
fish
that a while
ever.
back. I can't remember who it was, but I think there's a record. They were talking about it. I can't remember who it was, but I can't remember the fish either.
There are probably some fish in the deep sea that are hundreds of years old. There certainly are crustacea, coral.
Yeah,
Coral, well, coral is a colony animal. That's a little different.
yeah.
The colony head can be centuries old, but the individual polyps are certainly not. But the deep sea would be a very stable environment with not much going on. So
Yeah.
it would be conceivable for an animal to live indefinitely down there. Good question.
Rohan, Rohan,
Blake said
uh,
Blake
Ro-
said 300-year-old sharks.
yeah. Rohan asked, "What is a canister filter?" And I say it's a waste of money.
Yeah,
I
I
hate.
tend to agree. It's it creates external to the tank something that needs to be internal in the tank. So why
Yeah,
would you want to do that? RoboCop, I've already cleaned my filter. How come the flow is still weak? He's talking about a canister, is my guess. So there you go, Robo.
let us know what kind of filter. If it's a canister filter, or that's the only one I could think of that would have a flow problem
Well,
unless it's.
hang on the back or a canister, something with an impeller.
Uh,
Um, the impeller can be damaged. It can be clogged up. Cleaning includes taking the impeller out and cleaning the socket that it's in, as well as cleaning the uh, the impeller itself and cleaning the shaft that goes through the impeller because that can get gunked up as well. It could even freeze.
I ought to
So
put away and get a sump.
any of the moving parts, yeah.
Sumps are easier to clean. You don't have to worry. All you have to worry about is replacing a pump if it goes out. That's it.
I really like sumps. I
I do
do
too.
sumps, but I also do deep sand bed in the tank. So if I've got a sump with a deep sand bed, the tank has it too. And
Yeah.
I do have some sumps. I've got all of my salt water is on sumps, all of it. Um, and I've got all of my independent large tanks are on sumps, with the exception of one that's on a canister, a little one. Um, that's my discus tank, and that's simply because I don't have an easy place to put the sump.
Is
Uh,
there really any need, any use for a canister filter? I mean, something that, because I'm thinking almost every situation, a sump would be the right option, the better option, in my opinion. But is there anything that really would benefit from a canister filter? Or is there some kind of fish that you almost have to have a canister filter for? Or is it an issue with the space you have versus, you could fit a canister filter or sump?
yeah, I think it's a practical issue.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the case with the one. I've got two tanks actually with canisters. The little round canister, the clear one. Don't know, don't remember what that's called. I wound up with a couple of them. Decided to use them. They're convenient. I have to clean them every couple of months because they slow down to nothing. So they're not nearly as good as a sump, but I got them and I use them. And I probably ought to just do the conversion and be done with it. It's simple enough to do. And you can run multiple things off of the sump. Um, in fact, I could run my big tank. That's really interesting. I'm running a 200 off of the canister, and it's sitting right above a sump that's running all of my hard water African system, which is about 400 gallons. It'd be the simplest thing in the world for me to overflow that into the sump and pump it back in.
Yeah.
I can easily do it. Right now, I'm running one pump. It's not a drilled tank, and I guess that's maybe the issue. None of my system tanks on my racks are drilled, but they're all small tanks, and I do occasionally get overflow. So it's not a system I recommend to put in your living room or in your fish room if you have wood floors. If you got a concrete floor, it's great. But the big tank, putting a big tank on a sump when the tank is not drilled is somewhat problematic because the overflow can clog or block or get air in it and quit working. And then you've got a flood.
Yeah.
Unless you have a cutoff switch at a given level in the tank, which I find I've had those. Yeah, they work okay, like a valve, right? I actually have fill valves on all of my sumps that come out of a master sump, and I use toilet bowl floats in there, same valve and everything. I've just got them in the sumps, and they stay full so long as I have a switch on it, so I can have it on or off. I turn it off at night just to prevent overflow, but turn it on during the day, and that auto fills all of my sumps. I've got it on 4 sumps.
The only drawback really from there's a lot of benefits to running all your tanks having the same water source, because you got a higher volume of water. So if there's a nitrate problem, it's a lot easier to fix. But my only concern about having everything running off one system would probably be a disease spreading or a parasite spreading and floods from just like you were talking about. The block.
Well, that's the anxiety. The reality is it doesn't happen.
Explain that to me, because that's kept me from. I want to do a whole system like you do, and I'm always afraid that if something gets sick, it's going to spread. So you break, because a lot of people have that fear, Lou. So could you explain why it doesn't happen?
Yeah, there are two issues. Number one, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here, trying to do a couple of things. If it's ick, for example, I've not ever found the ick transfers from tank to tank. If it gets down in the sump, I've never had it go back up into another tank. Just from a practical standpoint, I have not had it happen. Now, I have my system set up with water going into each tank individually and
Yeah.
then overflowing out of each tank through a master overflow pipe, a single pipe that um, has overflows down into each tank. So if I turn the water off going into that tank, no water comes out of it. So I can isolate that tank from the rest of the system very
If,
easily.
if you find a problem, you can isolate it. Okay,
Yeah,
I was wondering how you did that because I really want to, when I build my fish room, I want to have everything running off, I want a sump and just have, the tanks running through the sump. I actually want to have a few things. I want to have when the water, how you have water returning to a main, it would probably be like a 400 or 500 gallon sump that would run everything in, my plans that I've drawn out. But when the water comes back to the sump instead of going straight into the sump, I was kind of wanting to have like a slide that has an algae scrubber where it goes down through the algae scrubber before it ever hits the sump. I love those things. I want to make a big algae scrubber.
oh, it's great. Yeah. Um, my experience is with the master sump, I never have a disease problem. It just has never happened. Um, I can't altogether explain why, but
Right.
I think the volume of water, the deep sand bed, the variation in um, in the various tanks and so forth, and animal life simply precludes it happening. I just haven't had it happen. Now the
Okay.
other issue, on the positive side, and the main reason I did this to begin with was so I would not have to test the pH and try to maintain the pH of 100 different tanks,
Exactly.
and that's an absolute blessing. I check pH now. I check pH never.
Yeah.
When someone asks me what it is, I'll check it. And it'll always be between 7.5 and 7.7.
Yeah.
I did have occasion to check nitrates about a year ago after 5 or 6 years, and it was up around 400. But then I went back and checked my source water, and my source water was over 300. Um, but there was no adverse effect on the fish. I did some water changes to get it back down to 300. Ah, but
And
high
that's another
nitrates,
thing.
I've never noticed high nitrates affecting the fish at all.
Another thing about a main master system like that is when you do water changes, all you have to do is change water in the sump. You don't have to go to each tank you know, and it's less shock on fish, I think, when you do it that way.
Yeah. Oh, this is funny. The conversations going on in the chat. I know why people like Lee and Steven and Blake and some of the other guys prefer to sit in the chat because they have the benefit of whatever's going on up here, but also the greater benefit of everything that's going on there, which I
Right.
lose. I
I
lose
do
out
too.
on it all the time.
I hate that too because when I'm doing my live streams, it's hard to because you'll answer a question. Now that my touch screen doesn't work, I can't really scroll back and look at a question.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'll lose it. I hate that.
Aquatic Conquest wants to know if I'd advise getting rid of a canister for a sponge. If you're doing a deep sand bed, then yes. If you're not, if you got a bare bottom tank, I would not recommend you do that. What I would recommend is that you put a deep sand bed in and
Yeah,
then get rid of it. Ah,
a dirty deep sand bed.
yeah, there are times when a bare bottom tank is really quite helpful, but they're kind of short lived times, and they have to do mainly with um, a hospital tank or a fry tank or some special circumstance that just makes it a lot easier to have a bare tank.
I was thinking yesterday when I was doing some plant research, um, and I wrote down the question to ask you today because I knew I'd forget and I just remembered. But besides, I know Madagascar lace can flower and you can take a Q-tip and propagate it by that. But can you, because I've got a Madagascar lace that's got the bulb, but it's got so many roots and plants are growing off that roots. Can you separate them and have like just a root Madagascar lace? Can you propagate that way?
Yeah, the same way with the Java temple plant. It's different from the Aponogetans. The Madagascar lace and the Java temple are not Aponogetans.
Right.
Uh, they are a true bulb plant. The Aponogeton is not a true bulb plant. It's called a bulb plant because it has a bulbous base, but
Yeah.
it has a crown on it, and all of the leaves grow out of that crown. If you cut or damage that crown, the bulb dies. With the true bulb plants like the Aponogeton in Madagascar, not Aponogeton, the lace the lace
Yeah.
plant and the Java temple, it will sprout babies off of different places on the bulb, and I would assume that there are, what are they called? Something,
The
can't
shoots.
think of the word. Well, it's a shoot that comes off of a
Ground.
specific place on it. That I don't know. I can't think. All I can think of the word. I can think of the word nematode. It's something toad. Stephen will know. Ask Stephen. I can't think of it. Anyway, um, yeah, you can take those plants off once they're fully established with a root system. They depend on their early life on the bulb to get nutrition. But once they establish the root base, there's only a single stem or single root going back to the main bulb, and you can take that off. It'll fall off. It'll
Yeah.
come off by itself.
No.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
Learn how
they
to propagate
produce.
it.
They can. Yeah, it's the easiest way to propagate them.
Okay. So you don't have to do the whole flower and pollinating it and everything. You can actually do it that way, the way you're
Well,
talking.
it's a simpler way to propagate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're of a mind to, you can certainly do the orchid propagation system.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm behind on the bell. Oh, I certainly am. Catching up on the bell. All of the sand. That's for all the sand.
That's for all the questions about what do I do? Add another inch of sand.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Answer the bunch at
That's
once.
sand. You bet. Ah, right. What are we doing? We're doing real well. It's only
We are.
about 9:50.
But you started early too. So it's been
I
great.
did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
think you ought to do 2 hour streams in the mornings, Father Fish, because
Yeah,
there's
I
so
really,
many questions.
as long as I can get up and get in here. And I usually am. I'm usually in by 8 o'clock. So I don't have any trouble doing that. I got one of them. I love it.
Oh yeah.
It's my
The
best
medicine you
friend.
got me on makes me itch, man. So I have to I don't know
Bates
why.
and Genetics. Bateson's with us. Hey, Bateson.
What's up?
By Aquatic Conquest. Thirsty, where is it? Thirsty Rabbit. Good morning, Thirsty Rabbit. We got the 10 o'clock. The 10 o'clock crowd is pressing in on us. Stephen, hi Roxanne. Something is going on with it. It's just a matter of saying which direction. I don't know what he's referring to.
Talking about the slime.
Talking about Roxanne.
Yeah.
And I got to go way back. Way back. It's my Blackmore juvenile. No,
what is it?
She has a juvenile Blackmore that's having problems. No, not improving. No change since yesterday, she says. Stephen's saying, keep monitoring. Well, that's a good rule. All right, what's over here? I don't know if Lee got back on or not. I think he may have quit us.
Uh-oh. Don't give up on it, Lee.
He was going to bed, and he slandered himself on his way out the door. So I put my foot in his butt. Helped him along.
Sometimes you got to have the good old boot. Boot to the butt.
All right. Let's see. I want to add a few more. On my video, Blake gave me a heads up to go into the video before we go live. That means set it up ahead, and then I can add notes to it. I can also monetize it early on, which I was not doing. So what have we been talking about today? I'm going to put some notes in. I've got, let's see, we can actually look at this, can't we?
Can we? Because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, let's look at it. Video Details Studio, right there. And we'll go back over here and go back over here. And we've got sump versus canister. What else are we talking about today? Blackbeard
algae. Propagating plants. Oh, I'm on the spot now.
I'm sorry?
I'm sitting here trying to remember, and I said to put me on the spot.
Look at the notes. I'm sure. See what people are typing in. I'm sure.
Yeah, typing stuff, guys, and let us know what we talked about. Someone put it in the notes here. I can't remember crap.
Oh, we talked about
sumps.
Waste. Get back over here a minute.
Did you put down sumps and overflows?
I did.
Oh, okay. Deep substrate. I always talk about it. You need to make sure you put at the very end another inch of sand.
Right. An inch of sand.
Now we talk sand.
Bell. I don't have a bell icon. I need a bell icon. Okay. What are we doing time-wise? We still got time.
Oh, yeah.
That's helpful. Let's see. The other thing I want to do is I've got to get Lee up here so we can do our closing.
Now,
soon.
Do you do that before? I mean, once you in the live stream, do you have to go in there and put the notes in, or do you have to be monetized first? And if you don't, can I go in there and put the notes in just like you're doing on my live streams?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You do it on what's it called? The
Studio.
Yeah, Studio, right? YouTube Studio. And just click on, if you go to the list of videos and then click on the pencil, the edit, it'll bring up the initial screen that'll allow you to do text in the
Oh,
comment
so it's
box.
just like adding a description to a video, but
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay, cool. Well, I didn't know that. I'm gonna start doing that. I've never done it before.
Yeah, it's a way to just
Highlight the bullets, I guess. Like if
yeah.
someone puts something in there they want to know, then they can watch it. Oh, they talked about this. Well, let's go in there and watch it, type deal. Oh yeah, we talked about moderator day. I don't know if you
Oh,
already
that's
clicked
right.
on
Yeah.
that.
Mods policy. Love our mods. The shoal.
Yes, the shoal. Mods in the shoal.
I don't know who came up with that, but I thought it was brilliant. The Father Fish shoal.
Yeah. I don't have I've got a Chromebook, Bateson. I don't have a mouse. I've got this little mouse pad on my Chromebook, but I'm winging it right now until I can get this thing to Geek Squad or something. Because I love this Chromebook and I love the fact that you can touch the screen and now it's not working. And I've tried everything that you're supposed to do to kind of, fix the issue, but I just can't. Well,
Steven's asking, what is
yeah,
mod day?
you have to go
Yeah,
back and watch.
see, you have to go back and watch the video. We did a whole big long explanation on mods, um, who they are, what they are, why they are. It's really kind of fun. One dirty platty. Mod day, party time.
We need to do a celebration too, Lou, when you get to your 1 year mark on being on YouTube.
Oh
I'd like
yeah,
I'd like to do a little party for that. I mean,
that
literally
would be fun.
host.
That's going to be my 80th birthday.
That's gonna be so cool. So you get your birthday. See, we should have you a birthday / YouTube party.
Yeah, and I'm going to be in court with Frank.
Oh, so we'll have to put it on another day, but we can still
Uh,
celebrate. We'll wait till Frank makes sure he's in the free and clear so he can
yeah,
attend.
God knows, right?
And before I go on this morning, guys, I've got to get a cup of coffee and send Rick to the store. So after Father Fish ends his stream, give me about 10 minutes and then I'll pop up.
So the idea, Stephen, of Mod Day is that everybody who is a regular, faithful member of the shoal on Father Fish Stream gets to be a mod. So you get your wrench. It's not fixed and formalized. It's more based on when I think about it, and it needs to be more formalized. Um, but I think we probably ought to do it on a nomination basis. Lee usually reminds me to make so and so a mod, and then I'll go in and I'll go back and check on those people who've been hanging out with us for a while, and they all got a wrench. So it's kind of based on the idea that as a shoal we are mutually supportive. We're here for each other. We um, we protect the shoal and protect the the stream. And when we reach the point where the sharks attack us, they will be put down hard fast.
And not to attack each other either.
Right? We can't attack each other. It doesn't allow by having a mod cannot attack another mod.
And
I'm
that's where
the
the
only
shoal
one.
thing came in.
Pardon?
That's where the shoal thing came in because the shoal fish won't do that.
Yeah. Once you're in a shoal, you're safe. All
Yeah.
you have to do is stay in the shoal, and you're safe. Well, Misfit, part of the reason I'm doing it is because I've decided not to do members. So it's a way to kind of acknowledge everybody. And it's a way to build community because that's really what the stream is about. The stream is a community builder. It's a friendship builder. It brings people together in conversation like nothing else does. It does not build the channel. It increases your time, but it does not really increase sponsorship. It doesn't increase. It has little or no monetization value, but it builds community. It builds a spirit. Um, it kind of builds relationships. I've gotten to know many of you through the stream, and in any number of cases, it's developed a friendship beyond that where we are in touch by telephone routinely. So it's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Good morning, William Pridemore.
Good morning, William. Yeah, you got to investigate the hammer 130 plates in.
Ah. Holly is going to court tomorrow. Be praying for you, Holly. Good luck with that.
Thank you, Miss Fit.
Roxanne was able to eat this morning after 11 days. Boy, I bet you lost a little weight. Hiatal hernia. Nasty.
Ooh.
Nasty. Yeah, I got one of those. It's not been to that level. Miss Fit, good morning. I'm just kind of backing up a little bit. All right. Somebody said, what is a sand canister? Not every canister can be a sand filter.
Right.
There are swimming pool filters that are made with sand as the filter media. So a canister filter that is set up the way a swimming pool filter, sand filter is set up is a sand canister. The critical thing is you can't have sand getting into the motor or it'll just ruin it.
Yeah. It'll wreck it.
It will wreck it. All right, I think we're at the witching hour. Let's get Lee up here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave too. I gotta set up mine. So you coming over, Lou, on mine for a minute?
Yeah, I will for a minute. Yeah. I gotta get some work done here. But I will come over.
All right, love you guys. I'll see you in 10. Bye.
Thanks, Ruth. Good to see you. Good to be with you.
Thank you for having me up.
You betcha. Bye-bye, everybody. Nice to be with you. It's been as always great fun. I'm gonna put Leo in here, and then I'll be following in the comments section.
Hello, Mary. Mary. Try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. I think that one will do. I'll play it back and I'll see what I think. I think it's probably the nuts. And that'll be the one. And you can play around with all of it and decide what you want to do in your production stream for Savada Fish.
All right. Thank you, guys. God bless you all. See you. What's today? Wednesday. I'll be on this afternoon at 3. We might be out in the field. I've got a hoping we'll be able to do that. So God bless. See you all at 3 o'clock. Bye for now.